Good morning, everyone, or should I say good afternoon? I would like you to go ahead and answer these questions that are here. Um, and now you can check your answers and see how you did. There you go. How are symbols such as less than, greater than, and equal to useful? That is our essential question. Today we're going to learn to find the output for a function table and the input for a function table. Let's go back and look at that vocabulary. Function, function rule, function table, independent variable, and dependent variable. If you've ever done a science experiment, you might be familiar with independent and dependent variables. They work kind of similarly in math, but it's good for you to look up the meaning of these words and to become very familiar with them. I'll have a vocabulary worksheet that you can work on that will help you get through these words. The output is 7 more than the input. Complete a function table for this relation. The function rule is x plus 7. Add 7 to each input. Okay, so now we see a function table. So we're being told that the output is 7 more than the input. Complete a function table for this relation. Okay, so these are kind of a challenge, and I'm sure you feel quite lost at the moment understanding this. So what we're saying is the output is 7 more than the input. Okay, so by reading 7 more than, we know it's plus 7 because it's 7 more than. Okay, it's 7 more than something. Okay, so we know the output is 7 more than something. The output being kind of like the answer is 7 more than something. Okay, so that's kind of how I want you to read it. Output kind of being a substitute word for answer. The answer is 7 more than the input. Okay. Now a function table is just a table to help us understand these things. This is a function table. Okay, so your input is x. So basically we're telling you x is 10. And this is x plus 7. So what would your output be? If your input was 12 or if your input was 14, you've got to figure out what the output would be. Okay, I know this is really kind of different, and so bear with me on this as we go through some of these. Now on this one, the output is 5 times the input. So the answer is 5 times, yes, that's multiplication, the input, which will be x. Okay, so we're going to complete a function table for this relation. So the function rule is 5x because it's 5 times the input, and the input is x, or any variable you wanted to use. The most common one we use in algebra is the x though, okay? So the function rule is 5x, which remember we've talked about is really 5 times x. We just don't put the little dot or an x in there because that gets too confusing. So we're just going to read that as 5 times x. So you multiply each input by 5. Let's make a table. If the input is 8, 5 times 8 would be 40. If the input, or x, is 10, 5 times 10 would be 50, and so on. Okay? Now, this one, find the input for the function table. Okay, so now we're kind of doing the opposite. Okay, we have the answer and we know the equation. We just got to figure out how to get there. So what we're looking at is the answer is 6, So 3x equals 6. So 3 times something equals 6. 3 times what equals 6? That's what it's asking us. So use the work backward strategy to determine the input, which is what I've just said. Okay, so you're going to work backward. You've got the answer, you've got to plug it in. Okay, that's the work backward strategy. So the input values are 6 divided by 3, or 2. Okay, so the input, or x, is going to be 2, so you're going to put 2 there. Okay, 15 divided by 3, right? Or you can think of it as 3 times what is 15? 3 divided by 15, it's 5. Okay. Let's see here. The Gomez family is traveling at a rate of 70 miles an hour. The function rule that represents this situation is 70x, where x is the number of hours. Make a table to find how many hours they have driven at 140 miles, 280 miles, and 350 miles. Then graph the function. Okay, so this is a part where our input is x. Remember the x-axis here, and our output is y and goes on the y-axis. So our coordinates are 2 and 140, okay? So you're going to use the work backwards strategy. Divide each output by 70. Okay, so that's how you get the answer there. The missing input values are 140 divided by 70, or 2, right? Because 2 times 70 is 140. Or 280 divided by 70, which is 4. And 350 divided by 70, which is 5. Okay, which it's already listed up here in the table. Okay. The input and output values are the ordered pairs, so you plot each ordered pair on the graph. Okay. So how did what you learned today help you answer this essential question? Okay, guys, I know this is really confusing, and we're going to do a lot of practice with these. You're going to have a sub tomorrow, so she will do her best to help you through some of this stuff when you do the work. Just try and remember that the input is the variable and the output is the answer. That's the most useful information. Also, the input is X and the output is Y. Thanks. Have a good night, guys. Bye.